Hello, growers. If you enjoy podcasts like this one, tune into my podcast In Search of Soil on YouTube for a deep dive into the mysteries beneath our feet. Join me as I explore topics such as mycorrhizal fungi, mushrooms, compost, biochar, and more. It's a soil nerd's dream. We're going deep. We're talking to scientists about all things soil related. Whether you're a seasoned farmer or a gardener just starting out, our podcast has something for everyone. Listen in and grow with us. Check out In Search of Soil on YouTube. So you said early on, balance is more important than quantity, but
Yep.
quantity can increase production. So let's say you
Quantity determines
balanced,
yield.
we're flatline. We've optimized our soil, we're
Yep.
in balance. Now I want to bump production.
Yep.
Is there tools within your methodology of reading this toolkit to get increases in production beyond balance, or is balance like that's the limit?
Balance and quantity. If the balance is correct and the quantity is at 100% of what the plant diet should be, then that's the maximum production of your operation.
Right. Okay.
However, that doesn't mean you can't improve it, because throughout the growth phase, there can be things you can do that's going to stimulate greater growth, like cropping, for example. When I grow oats, I can grow oats to the last crop of oats I put in grew to 5'9" tall. Really high quality, 16.5% bricks, grew like steam. I got the soil into reasonable balance, not perfect. This is dry land farming. I'm not anal about getting my pasture soils exactly spot on. I bring those that are deficient up. But in my oats crop, or any crop, in periods of high growth, plants use up the available potassium very quickly and then suffer a potassium deficiency. Even in high potassium soils, I've seen soils that are 200% higher plant available potassium, and they will still get a production response to potassium fertilizer during periods of high growth, because the plants use it up quickly. And what happens is, in a grass plant, like say a wheat or an oats or cereal crop, when the plant's at 1/4 to 1/3 stem elongation, the plant actually assesses how much potassium is available and then determines how much it can yield. And that yield is based on the potassium, not the nitrogen also, but potassium is a key driver, because the plant requires more potassium than any other nutrient. It's been determined through research that globally, on average, crops yield less than 20% of their potential. That is because of a potassium deficiency during periods of high growth. With that knowledge, I made sure I had potassium there at that critical time, and growth increased by 100%. And this was dry land. If I had irrigation, I think I could easily grow oats to 10 feet tall if I had them under irrigation. I can grow them to nearly 6 foot.
Right.
No problems at all. And for plants like corn, the plant does that assessment at about the 5 to 7 leaf stage. It assesses potassium. And I've grown, in our home garden, I've grown corn crops that will produce 30 corn cobs per plant. And on those plants, I could see that there were embryo corn cobs that didn't have enough nutrition to grow. They'd got to about a 2-inch little knob and then stopped because the plant ran out of nutrition. The potential for corn is through the roof, but getting that nutrition in there at the exact time is an art,
Can I have you
as well
pull
as a
your
science.
Can I have you pull your screen a little towards you? I think some sun came in there.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll see if we can. How about if we turn that way?
There we go. Yeah, so there is a case for also of the bioavailability of the nutrient applied. So if you apply something to the soil, it has to be uptaken through the root. That will
Yeah,
obviously have a different effect than if it goes straight on as a foliar,
yeah,
different impact. So say you had a soil that was out of balance for potassium. I'm assuming you would balance it in the soil first and
Yeah.
then knowing that the crop is going to be using it, you'd still apply foliarly.
If there was an acute deficiency, or I thought there was, certainly the foliar is the way to fix that up. That's cut yourself, you put a Band-Aid on. If the plant's got an acute deficiency, put a foliar on, and that'll fix it up straight away. In that potassium situation, I determined how quickly the potassium was going to release in the soil based on the type of potassium fertilizer I used. And I applied it at a time so that maximum release would be when the plant was doing that assessment. You need to know the solubility of the fertilizer you're using, how long it's going to take to get dissolve in the soil and get to become available to the plant in a high dose at that critical time. And there's a bit of calc, and relying on natural rainfall, that's controlled by the rain. However, so is the plant growth. If you can see, okay, in a couple of weeks there's a rain event forecast, I'll put some on now, and it's late winter. That's going to be available in 4 to 6 weeks. That's when the plant's accelerating into peak spring growth. That's when I need it. And if it doesn't rain, if it rains 2 weeks later, then the plant hasn't started that maximum growth because it hasn't got the water. So it's still valid. So you can time it to, there's a bit of hit and miss when you're relying on Mother Nature for rainfall compared to irrigation, but you can dramatically increase your yield by using, potassium's the key for increasing yield once you've got a balanced soil, and applying it when you're in max growth. Whether it's an annual veggie crop, they go through rapid growth phases, that you can dramatically improve that with a bit of extra potassium.
Hello, growers. Protect your crops from harmful insects with Modern Growers Insectanet. This top-tier insect netting made by Modern Grower shields your plants from pests and harsh weather, boosting your yields without harmful sprays. Insectanet's unique design allows 90% of the light to pass through and is easy to use with low tunnel systems like our Quick Hoops. It's soft, elastic, and durable, perfect for field use to help ensure that your crops thrive. Say goodbye to pest damage and hello to healthier, market-ready produce. Invest in Insectanet and see the difference it makes. Get Insectanet at shop.moderngrower.co or using the link below.